Today we're going to be doing some accuracy testing with the Fiocchi line of 22 long rifle ammunition. Welcome back to the channel, crew. Now today we're going to be testing out some 22 long rifle ammunition from Fiocchi. So big shout out to Fiocchi for sending that. I've got very little experience with their Rimfire ammunition, and I've heard a lot of great things in the comments of a lot of my videos with 22 long rifle. With that said, today we're going to be taking a look at the Fiocchi Official 320, the Fiocchi Exacta Winter, the Fiocchi Performance Subsonic, the Fiocchi Performance Standard Velocity, and the Fiocchi Performance High Velocity. Now I should mention also that Fiocchi has sent me a couple of boxes of their 22 Rimfire blanks. Obviously no way to check accuracy on these, but I do appreciate them sending them to me, and I will find something that we can use these for. As always, I want to remind you, my range is outdoors. You're going to hear birds, you're going to hear traffic, not a lot we can do about it. So moving on. As far as the way we're going to conduct the testing today, I've got a target down range. It is a multi-bullseye target from Outdoor Products Plus. They're a great partner of the channel here. Be sure to check those guys out if you have the opportunity. And we're at 50 foot. One of the reasons we're at 50 foot is this particular rifle, and a lot of the competitions that I've shot in the past are 50 foot precision small bore matches. Now, with that in mind, I'm using one of the most accurate rifles here that I have access to, and this is my Savage Mark II. You can see it's completely set up with the target sights and all that good stuff. That's going to give us a better readout on how accurate obviously this ammunition is, as opposed to using a rifle that's a little more inherently inaccurate. In addition to using a very accurate rifle here, got it strapped into my lead sled. That should help eliminate a lot of human error. And we're also going to fire a couple of control groups first. We're going to use just some Winchester Expert 22 bulk ammo, which is kind of what I would say on the lower end of what you would call accurate ammunition. And then we're going to use my favorite as far as match ammunition, Ellie black box match ammunition here for the high end. So I can kind of bookend what is possible from the Fiocchi ammunition here. Now we're going to shoot 5 round groups, and like I said, going to start out first with our control groups. So let's load up some of the Expert 22 and get started. Now let's get a group on the opposite end of our control spectrum with the Ellie black box match. All right, so here we are downrange after firing our control groups with the Winchester Expert 22 and the Ellie black box match. You can quickly see the Ellie here, pretty much a touch and jagged hole where we have kind of a string up and down on the Expert 22. Which ammunition is more accurate inherently through an inherently accurate rifle? Well, duh, the Ellie black box match. So Now what we want to see as we shoot our 5-round groups with the Fiocchi ammunition is we want to see groups on this paper in between, somewhere in between these two, and that's going to tell us that that Fiocchi ammunition is where it needs to be. I suspect that the Exacta and the 320 ammunition is going to be closer to the Ellie side, and I suspect that the Performance probably is going to be just a little better group than the Expert 22, but let's fire those groups and see what happens. We're going to start out our Fiocchi tested here with the Performance Subsonics. And now let's move on to the Fiocchi Performance Standard Velocity. And finally, we'll finish out the Fiocchi Performance line with the high velocity. Noticeable difference on the muzzle report on the high velocity there. Those dudes crack. It'll be interesting to see the groups that cross the different velocities here, because typically higher velocity, the groups open up a little bit. All right, so this is the Fiocchi Performance line. Here's the subs, the standard, and the highs. And I gotta say, I'm impressed. It's doing what it's supposed to do. As speculated earlier, here's our really precise control with the Ellie, our bulk ammunition with the Expert 22. We see the subs, not quite as pretty as the Ellie, but not as pronounced as the Expert 22. Same way on the standard, and we've got a little bit bigger grouping here on the high than we do on the Ellie as well, but definitely smaller than the Expert 22, all holding really tight groups here. Now what is interesting, I mentioned, is the high. As you can see, as we went from sub, we had a kind of an elevation string here, but a pretty small string nonetheless. As we went up to standard, we ended up having a bit of a flyer out here to the side. Not extreme or anything, but a little bit. And then that string kind of opened up maybe just a little bit more as we went to high. So while we are seeing, I think, a little bit of deviation as we get faster velocity ammunition, the cool thing about this Fiocchi is it's not nearly as pronounced as I've seen it on some other brands. So with that, let's get back to the bench and do our 5-round groups with the what I guess is considered the really high-end match ammunition from Fiocchi, and that's the 320 and the Exacta winner. All right, here we go with the Fiocchi official 320. Yeah, this is supposed to be the more premium stuff out there. So I had a screw up there. I had to go down the range and fix it. What I did is I put 4 to 5 shots of the official 320 on the bullseye that was marked for the X-Acto Winter. So I did put 1 shot of the 5 on the correct bullseye. What I went down there is I went down there, I switched my labels, and I also marked the shot on the official 320 bullseye. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 1 more shot downrange with this. That'll give me a 5 round group, if I can talk, on that bullseye. And then we'll use the other bullseye for the X-Acto Winter. It's just when we get down range and look at those targets, need to keep in mind they're directly opposite of what they're labeled. Let's get 1 more on that bullseye. And you know, that happens a lot when you're dealing with multiple ammunitions and you're marking the bullseyes. Heck, I can't read that writing down there, so I've got to try to remember which bullseye I labeled what. So moving on, we got the X-Acto Winter here. So we're gonna give 5 of these a try. Now one thing about the X-Acto Winter, it sounds a bit louder to me. Now before we go down range and check out the Fiocchi official 320 and X-Acto Winter we just shot, a question for everybody out there. What is the most accurate 22 that you own, and what type of ammunition do you feed it? So here we are back down range, going to take a look at a couple things. Remember, even though this is marked 320 in this winter, I've X'd out my original labels, crossed them over because I got confused. This would be the shot right here. This is going to be the actual 320 I did put on this target. And then this is the 5-shot. Wow. 5-shot group from the 320 official from Fiocchi. Notice this group, compare it to the Ellie. That is freaking awesome. So good job, Fiocchi. There's a few ammunitions I've seen over the years that come closer compared to that Ellie black box. It's by far still my favorite, but if I could just get my hands on some more of the Fiocchi stuff. Fiocchi ammunition is hard for me to get a hold of. That's why I was so appreciative that they sent me some of this stuff for testing. Now, as far as the X-Acto Winter, despite, like I said, it sounding like it being a little hotter ammunition, a little faster ammunition, it grouped well too. If we take this hole here out, which like I said does not count, then we've got basically 2 touching holes here. So if you're talking about actual size of the group, it gets really close to the Ellie as well. So the performance line of the Fiocchi, not quite as good as the Ellie, but definitely better than bulk stuff. The more match grade line of Fiocchi ammunition is by all accounts here on par with the Ellie match grade ammunition. So there is the Fiocchi 22 long rifle ammunition testing for today. Before you leave though, a thumbs up is always appreciated. A thumbs down if you must, and be sure to hit us up in the comments below. I would certainly love to talk about the most accurate 22 rifles and the most accurate 22 ammunition that you've ever experienced. A big shout out and thank you once again to Fiocchi Ammunition for sending us this 22 long rifle ammo to test. Now, I did not shoot it all. I've got some left over, so you will see more Fiocchi ammunition popping up on videos in the future. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching. Until next time, don't forget to chain fire freedom.